Thank you for tuning in. This is our horticulture competition application. I'm Derek Evans, and my partner is Thomas Munoz. And here we go. For this project, we created a horticulture competition application. It was allowing users and staff to be able to organize their entrance and be able to sort, view their entries, update the entries, as well as some additional functions that we added. And then from the additional functions, you can get recommendations for color, and you can also do a sort of random competition. So it looks through the. We'll explain it later, but a random competition.
Okay, so we wanted to create this application because there are many organizers that still keep this information stored in paper or they manually insert it into an Excel sheet. So we decided that they could use a website that allows them to the data and allow them to run the competitions smoothly.
All right. So for our environment, we used Python and then also Django. Django is the open source web framework that we used, and we also used HTML. This allowed us to access our. We used we used this with we both used VS Code and the SQL Tools extension to assist with our database access editing. Django also allowed us to. It helps with database management and just being able to with sort of ease, just add, remove, and delete data. And then we used MySQL Workbench to write the queries for inserting values into our tables as well as creating our tables.
So for the functions, there are the four basic functions, and then we added two more advanced functions, which one is a fuzzy recommendation system that allowed for a user to input a color, and in return, the application will provide a recommendation based on the relationship to the inputted color. And the second one is a random competition function, which allows the users to press a button and input additional information to display which flowers will be the top three as well as the participants.
All right, and then for our references, most of these are just videos for Django and just helping us understand how to use Django because neither of us had used Django before. So these were very helpful with our learning process. And then we also have this, which I use for Fuzzy Wuzzy, which I used for my fuzzy application, fuzzy advanced function, just a recommendation system. So then we are going to move on over to our project. This is our homepage. Oh, this is not our homepage. This is our homepage. So welcome to our horticulture application. We have our little top bar here, and then it shows a little nub that shows that gives a little short instruction manual for it. You can choose which tab you want to be on, and then we can choose. It says you can choose flower recommendations. Up here, this is a button for our homepage. Button for our homepage. And then we also have organizers, participants, competitions, and flower recommendations. If we go down just here on real quick, we show on our homepage the three largest plants that have been inputted. So the geranium, hosta, begonia, it shows their size, and it also shows who it was submitted by. Then we also have our three smallest plants, which is going to be lantana, portulaca, and a snapdragon size, and then again who they were submitted by. So we're going to first go off to our organizers page. In our organizers page, first shows off that we have a total of 3 organizers currently. So this is just the main thing where you can look at who currently is an organizer, and then you can first go into here, just search. You can just choose who you want to look for specifically if it's a longer list. So let's say we're looking for Kayla, it's just going to show Kayla. If we go back and show Brant, excuse me, there we go. It's just going to show Brant. And then if we go back to empty and then click search again, it's going to show all of them. We can also do this by specialty or by organizer ID. And then you can do by one or more if there's shared characteristics, but we currently don't have any organizers that have those shared characteristics. So first we're going to go into insert, and then we're going to go into organizer. This is a list, so now we can add a new organizer. It's going to automatically assign a new organizer ID, but let's say that we're going to add organizer named Anya. Let's say that the organizer specialty is going to be spring flowers, and we're just going to click submit. There we go. We now have Anya, who is doing spring flowers. We can then update Anya's value. Say Anya wants to be called Jones. And let's say she switched on over to fall flowers. Now we have Anya. There is a current break right there, but we have Anya Jones, fall flowers. And then if we want to, we can just remove her. So then confirm or delete, confirm, delete for the entry. Then we're going to go into participants. So participants for this, again, we show how many entries we have. So this is actually different. Entries is how many flowers that we're going to have versus our total number of users. Our users is 11. So let's say we have Sheila, Linda, Tracy. We have 11 people, and then we have 20 flowers among them. Some people put in multiple times. So we have Sheila, Linda, Tracy. Again, we can search. Let's say we're going to look for Mandy. Mandy's going to show up here. It shows which her ID is and which order in the competition, the name, her address, they're fake addresses, but these are still addresses, and then entry. And then first we're going to go, then we can go back to this. Let's say we're going to insert a new person. We're going to call her Tiffany. Home address. I could have just gone with Anya again, but we're going to go with Tiffany. And then let's say she has 0 entries right now because we haven't had any entries. So then we have Tiffany, who is fake. We're going to we can then look up Tiffany. Tiffany's going to show up. We can update Tiffany's value if we want. Tiffany changed her name to Roxanne. And she now lives at 1244 Fake Lane. And then it will send us back to our participants page, where we can then go to Roxanne, 1244 Fake, still no entries. But if we go to the entries, we see it. Well, how about we choose someone else for this real quick? We're going to go back to participants. Let's say we're going to choose Lucas's entries because he actually has entries. We have Portulaca and we have Lantana. We could again search here for Portulaca and Lantana or by the flower color. We can go into these entries. We could insert a new entry here. So let's say the user, I believe Lucas is user number 6. We're going to go into flower species. We're going to say he has a new hydrangea that is 20 inches tall. The flower color is going to be blue, and the flower age is going to be 20 months. We're submitting that, and now Lucas here. I'm actually pretty impressed. I remembered the ID, but we now have a new entry here for Lucas hydrangea. We can then here update it if we want it. If it grew an inch, change it to 21. We're gonna go back to entries. Excuse me, I selected the wrong person. Entries, we'll see this again. And then if he no longer wants to use it in the competition, we can just confirm its deletion and it'll be removed from those. So real quick, just to confirm its deletion, no longer there. All right. And then if we wanted to, we're going to remove Roxanne, unfortunately, but we're going to confirm that delete. And Roxanne is no longer on our list. Now we're going to go to competitions. Thomas will take over.
Competitions, we have total number of competitions is 4 right now. Total number of perennials 14 and annuals 20. We can search for a competition ID, competition name, or location. So we can just put number 2 and it's gonna search. So now we're gonna insert a new competition. We can put the competition name. Gonna be competition 3, location, could be any location. The date be that. For the participants number 12 with 10. And now we submit it and we can see it at the end. It has 10 participants Now we can update this competition. Can change the date, location, or participant numbers. It all depends. Okay, now updated, and we can see the change at the end. Now we have perennials and annuals. Those are subclasses for this competition. So I would just go to perennials. We can search for a perennial, which could be iris or that. We can update this entry or remove it. Uh, yes, not that. Okay, so now we can insert a new flower, but let's check if perennials was updated. Yes, it was. We can insert a new perennial at the competition ID. That's the competition. And the perennial name. It could be. Okay, so now it's gonna choose a new entry. We can remove this entry since we already have one, I think. Okay, so for annuals, now we can go to annuals. We can search for annual name. And it's gonna show it to us. We can insert a new entry. We can put in competition the annual name, could be Tunis, and we submit it. Now we can go look at the end, and that's the new entry. We can update this entry. So leaves now we submit it, and we gotta go back and check if we updated it. So it was updated. Now we can remove this and confirm the deletion. Okay, so now we're gonna remove we're gonna remove a competition. We can remove the last competition, and then we confirm delete, and it should be gone now. So now I'm gonna go through the advanced function, which is the random competition. Go ahead. We can input the name of the competition and the number of participants that we want. It tells us no more than 11 because we only have 11 participants. Go ahead and click submit. And now it's gonna give us the winners, which is based on the number of entries, and it's gonna choose the participants of that competition. And that should be it for the competition.
Right. So now we're going to move on over to flower recommendations, which was my advanced function. I decided to create a fuzzy recommendation system based on color. So let's say, just to start right here, enter color to get flower recommendation. So we're going to start off with something easy. We've got red, and it'll say get recommendations. So it's going to start off by showing all of the it's going to show all of the flowers that are already red. It's going to say it's got 100% similarity because those are also red flowers. I don't have any kind of like color slider attached when we put these in tables, so it's just plain red. And then if you go down, it's going to show different colors is like how the model supposes that it's like related. So like purple is a little reddish, and then it'll go orange, orange, and then it'll start going to stuff that's not too related. I did have some issues with stuff that was technically in the same color gradient, just because pink. So like pink is essentially red but lighter. So for some reason it added pink as 0 values, but that should be higher up. Still working on getting that cleaned out. But the model, I just didn't want to do it manually because I could have done it manually, but I didn't want to do it manually just because there's many different kinds of color. There's many different examples of this. Like if say I was doing orange and then I was like, oh well, let me just do like burnt orange, which is a darker orange. There's a different values of color gradients, and I didn't want to get caught up on. I wanted to make it so that it would be able to recognize that on its own, as opposed to me manually setting it for each and every color. But this also works for other colors, not just red. So let's say that we're going to do blue. we're going to get our recommendations. Again, it's going to show blue, and then purple is going to be top of the list. It considers red to be not terribly similar. 29% is pretty low, but it's going to start going down and be like, this is like percentage close. And then finally, we're going to just check out finally white. This is just listing it. And then that is our application. Thank you very much for listening to our presentation.